So we're thinking about what's next. And, again, Magnum still hasn't really quite run their first full-fledged, standalone live event. They did the joint show and they've done showcase matches. And even this event on the January 15th, that six-man tag, it's a showcase match. It's a part of another event. So as we're trying to build on this, we're talking about, and as I say we, as if I was involved in the creative process, I'm more just gossiping. I'm texting back and forth, just, hey, what's up? When you guys doing your next show? And what do you guys have planned? And, blah, blah, blah. And it's really me just trying to stay up to date. Keep me in the circle. Don't forget about me, guys. And, hey, I'm part of the crew. And I'm, again, I was so influenced by these guys that it was like, man, I want to stay up to date and I don't want them to forget about me. So as I'm talking to the head manager, Anthony, for Magnum at the time, they're talking about the next. I'm trying to, see what's up and see where this is going and when's the next time they can use me. And I'm really into this Magnum project because they were trying to portray this. It was Japanese and lucha libre hybrid. It was fast paced. It was hard hitting. It was something new at the time. And again, you see that so often nowadays, but that just shows you how far ahead of the curve that Strife is with some of the things that he pulls off. And so March 11th, 2011, I find out is the date of the next showcase. And I'm asking Anthony, like, okay, well, what's the deal? Like, how are you going to know, like, what's the next match? Basically trying to be like, hey, kid, do you have a spot for me? And he's like, oh, well, I'm thinking about doing Jaysin Strife versus Sami Callihan. And, that's a what if kind of moment when you look back now. I'm not sure if the match has ever taken place, but man, I would love to see it. And I thought, like, wow, okay, well, that sounds awesome from a fan's perspective. Because I was so young and I was, again, still so influenced by Strife to the point where, like, I was a fan. Like, I would keep up with his stuff. The thought of him versus Sami Callihan is like, okay, cool. Well, they don't need me. And so I can remember going to bed that night, and when I wake up the next morning for what had to have been school, because I'm still in high school, I was probably a sophomore or a junior at that point. Um, I open up the text from Anthony, and it just says, I can remember it clear as day. And the feeling I got, it was like, oh my God. It said, do you want to wrestle Nate, Jaysin? Do you want to wrestle Nate on March 11th in the showcase match? And oh my God, I can remember just like, is this real? Like, whoa, like that. And so now, like, thinking about here we are from January 2010, that first time I see him, and thinking like, whoa, okay, like he wrestles. We talked about it from the start. Okay, this is like kind of real. You're telling me there's a chance. To now, March 11th, 2011, just over a year from my debut, but just over a year from basically, the point where I was, involved. It hadn't even been a year. So again, perhaps that's a bad thing. It just goes to show how inexperienced I was and how, but man, just sheesh, I can't even complain. Think about how the opportunity, like, I mean, how grateful I have to be because man, that was so. Of course, I say yes. It was like there's no question about it. And this time, I didn't have to get a ride from my parents. I got a ride with the ring crew, so I rode in the back with the trailer with the ring to get up to 4 hours up to Central California to have this match with Jaysin in this Magnum Pro Showcase. And it's March 11th, 2011. And what we're going to do at the very end of this episode is we're going to do a watch along to this match. It is probably one of my most viewed matches of all time. Ryan Kidd versus Jaysin Strife. It's about 15 minutes. So again, we'll do that at the very end of the episode. And we'll watch that together and I'll be able to, kind of share some live thoughts here. Now, what, 12 years later, just about, which is, man, just surreal to think about. But, we'll talk about it as we watch it. But man, March 11th, we tore the house down. Like seriously, we tore the freaking house down, and like I gave it my all. Like because he brought that out of me. Like there was nothing. It was all or nothing. There was no question about it for me. Like this was put up or shut up. This was everything I had ever wanted. Like this was my biggest goal. This had to have been my biggest goal in wrestling at the time, and it was like, okay, not only am I having this match, but it almost was more of a point to me to have not had it at my home promotion because uh, maybe my pride's getting in the way there. But like if they had booked it something about it like that's not fair. They're doing me the favor. They're giving me that opportunity. But like, no, man, like I I worked my ass off, and like they noticed me, and they put me in that position, and then they asked me if I wanted to be in that match, and it was just like I have no choice but to deliver. So I go out and we beat the shit out of each other, just absolutely no bones about it. Looking back on it now, crap, like I kind of missed the point, but like man, it was so hard hitting, and like I gave it my all, and we'll talk more in detail about it as we do the watch along. But it ends, and Jaysin gets the win, and that's no spoiler there. And after the match, we do a post match angle where Bateman and his manager Ray's at the time, they get in and post match beatdown, and now we're starting to continue that storyline, and again, those are Strife's fingerprints all over that, and that like he wins the match because that was right for the match. He was experienced. He won the match fair and square. He literally did. He beat me dead to rights. And whether or not you think that's showbiz or not, like no, he out wrestled me, outclassed me. That's the way the story of the match was going. He beat me, and he could have walked away with his hand raised, and he could have walked away having gotten over. And even him doing that, he's done me the biggest favor because me being able to hang with him in the eyes of the fans, that raises my credibility in the eyes of the fans. That make even in defeat, like there was no question about it that when you watch that match, win, lose or draw, like damn, that kid's a tough son of a bitch. After that, like he raised my credibility, but not he didn't leave it at that. He he pushed the angle that people were starting to get this interest in, and that he had an investment in. He believed in it. Most importantly, of this Tyler Bateman and Ryan Kidd thing. So him letting his post match victory celebration get squashed by this post match beatdown. It's like when I think about it now, that's such a pro move, man. Like that is so man. Like that's I cannot thank that dude enough for that. Like I get emotional thinking about it because like it just he something tells me that as I saw him at in January of 2010, and like I was inspired, and like that was a goal for me. Like something tells me, and it's probably not true, but like it felt like it was like mutual. Like I felt validated at that point in that like he- like he this was a goal for him. Like I was a project, and I still feel like one in a way. Uh, man, this is like hard to talk about. Um, so we do this match on March 11th, and we like blow the roof off the place. And shortly after that, the rematch is booked. Like, can you believe it? Like, wow! Not only I get to have this one match with my hero, so to speak, and I'm not not to discredit him, but like, man, this guy was an influence, like my local goal. And now the rematch is booked. Like we did it. Like I did it. Now I'm like on that level, and what if we go around and take this around town? And what if we do like what if we do a series here? Like what if I get to what if I beat this guy? You know what I mean? Like it was